It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas.
Oh, let's review.
We'll analyze the scene.
Sounds holly jolly to me.
Before it's over, let's begin.
Bum.
Bum.
That's right. Greetings, folks. Since the Christmas season is upon us, we thought the way to celebrate and get into the holiday spirit would be with some holiday reviews.
6 to be exact, selected and arranged for your Yuletide pleasure.
So, silver up those bells, light the multicolored lights, and go out and build a preferably physically attractive snowman as we engage in some
Seasonal shenanigans!
shenanigans. All right, Dragon, are you ready to get hot?
I'm ready to get reasonably warm.
Okay. Okay, folks. Tonight, I got to admit, out of everything that we're doing this year for seasonal shenanigans, this was definitely the big one for me. As soon as I saw that this movie existed, I was like, I zeroed the hell in on it. I was like, this is so up Dragon and I's alley. This is like the night KNIGHT before Christmas that we wanted. It's hot Frosty, baby. No, Kogias. It's not great. It's not what I would call a great movie, but it's fun. It's pleasant. It's got the holiday cheer, and I kind of love it for that. Yeah. So yeah, Dragon. I guess my thesis on this thing is, I don't know. I really think it kind of lives up to the whole to the hype that I kind of gave it of being like the spiritual successor to The Night Before Christmas. I think in some ways maybe it's a little better. I don't know. I this movie really did it for me, man. It pretty much gave me exactly what I wanted. It's cheesy. It's incredibly pleasant. It's got I will say that with The Night Before Christmas, I think maybe they play around with their gimmick a little bit more. I think as far as like the budget for this movie goes, you can kind of tell they were like, yeah, he's melting. Trust us, he's melting. You don't have to actually see it, just go with it. But or at least with Sir Cole, we could at least afford some armor for the guy. But I don't know. I think this movie's just charming as hell, Dragon. It's not a great movie, but it is so charming. I think it really does put you in the holiday mood. I think the characters are all very nice, or at least in the sheriff's case, kind of entertainingly incompetent. So I hope you had a similar level of fun with this as I did, but what say you? Oh boy. Dragon, you there? I'm not hearing you. Shit. The same thing might be happening that happened last night off air, Dragon. Because I am not hearing you. All right. Well, this is great. All right, communicate with me, buddy. You might have to go out and come back in. Okay. All right, folks. I'm sorry about that. I guess while we are waiting for Dragon to return, in case y'all don't know, The Night Before Christmas is another very cheesy kind of Hallmark style Netflix movie, starring Vanessa Hudgens as as the love interest, and then I don't know, some dude as the titular knight. And it's just been a movie that Dragon and I have kind of had a little bit of a hyper fixation on for a while now, just because like it's a Hallmark movie for sure, but it's also got just enough of like a high concept, and it plays around with that high concept just enough that it's very much worth watching. No, it's got nothing to do with The Nightmare Before Christmas, although that would be a fun crossover. Sir Cole going into the Nightmare Before Christmas universe. That would be a fun crossover. So, yeah, we did that review several years ago, I think. the big moment in that review that we sometimes will pull a quote from is Vanessa Hudgens giving is that how you say her name? Vanessa Hudgens? Am I saying that right? Giving a very dramatic reading when she finds something that was set up earlier by the love interest. It's the magic bean. It's the magic bean, Dragon.
The magic bean.
The magic bean. All right, so Dragon, did anything in this movie live up to the magic bean?
Well, I mean, look, Night Before Christmas is a Christmas curio. It's a Christmas curiosity. You know, it's like you see, like, wait a minute, is that a pun that I see there? What is this all about? I'm a sucker for snowmen. You know, it's ingrained in me.
Oh, I know you
love
are.
snowmen.
Yeah.
So this I think what Night Before Christmas and this movie are doing right is that it's basically Hallmark with a budget and maybe just a little more thought applied to it. Like Hallmark's like a factory industry. Hallmark's like they're printing out gingerbread houses like they're going out of style and then slapping a logo on it. That's essentially what Hallmark's doing these days. But to Netflix's credit, I mean, they're again, they're kind of dethroning they're throwing Hallmark a little bit there. They're
I think the difference
adding...
between Netflix and Hallmark is simply that Netflix is not afraid to throw some weird concepts like this into the mix. I think they can, they're a little bit more willing to experiment with their formula.
It's like they're in the same they're in the same sandbox, but they're using different materials. It's something like that. There's a lot of earnestness in adapting. This Frosty story as a rom-com, and I really appreciate it. It's a charming little movie. I like the little self-awareness at the start. I kind of wish there's a little bit more of it throughout, but I mean, it's still there. But at the end of the day, though, I don't know if I like this more than Night Before Christmas. I do like this. I do. I think had we taken out one specific plot element, this movie might have been better. But aside from that, I like it. I kind of like getting movies like this from Netflix around the holidays because again, it's just in title alone, it's like cheesy and just kind of like I don't want to say clickbait because it's more of like it's like the Netflix banner thing.
No. Let me make this clear. This movie, the title of this movie is absolutely designed to be clickbait. Dragon, come on now.
Well, no, yeah, I know it's clickbait.
More so than The Night Before Christmas is clickbait.
No, what I'm saying is it's clickbait, but it's like not literally like a click. It's like you have it's like this like scroll bait or something. It's like when it like pops the way in which it pops up on Netflix. It's kind of like it's like pop up bait or something. I don't know. Anyway, yeah. So I mean, I don't think it measures up to the Magic Bean because there's no Vanessa Hudgens in this movie, but we do have Lacey Chabert.
Yeah, we have someone just as good, I think.
We do.
And honestly, I think her character's a little bit more fleshed out than Vanessa was in that movie.
Okay, that's fair. Okay, I'll give you that. At least we
because remember her whole thing in that movie is that she's like a teacher, and then she's like we literally get introduced to her giving relationship advice to one of her students, and then I don't think we ever see her teaching again.
No, you're right. I don't know. It's a little hard for me to compare the two, but I don't know. Maybe
I'll put it like this. I think The Night Before Christmas has more memorable set pieces. I think the production value is a little higher. I honestly think this maybe has better actual character arcs. Like this actually feels like more of a movie than The Night Before Christmas. Does that make sense? As far as like The Night Before Christmas definitely has a little bit more of a memorability to it, but I think this just overall I feel like I think it kind of flows better too. I just think the actual arcs of the characters are a little bit more well defined in this one.
I don't know. It just seems like, again, I guess like the theory on these Netflix movies are if they have a holiday pun, they have like kind of a good viability to them. So like, Hot Frosty, Night Before Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anyway, so I guess let's get into it.
Yeah. All right. So One thing I will say that I kind of appreciate about this movie more than Night Before Christmas is I like that we get right into the Frosty of it all. I really don't think we waste any time. I think the pacing is very well done. Like, one of the things that stands out to me about Night Before Christmas, rewatching it, is I don't necessarily think it's all that necessary. Like, we have that big hunt scene at the beginning that I kind of think is just kind of stalls the start of the movie a little bit. Like, I guess we have to establish, Sir Cole as the knight, but like, I don't know. I honestly kind of feel like with that movie, it maybe would have worked better if this guy just kind of appeared in the middle of where he appeared, and we didn't necessarily know if he was a knight or not. I kind of feel like having that initial prologue. So here, I like that we're starting right off the bat where we're getting introduced to Lacey Chabert's character of Kathy, and I like that we are genuinely doing some kind of pretty decent like visual storytelling with her character, with the fact that her heater's broken and she's got the leaky roof and the dead husband, and that's all communicated like very effectively in the first couple of minutes of this movie.
But here's what I want to hit with the opening. Two things. We set the tone with the narrator. It's not really a narrator through the whole thing, just like we have someone like do. But it's kind of weird that we have a random narrator. But what we do get from that is we're right off the bat, we're subverting the Frosty myth. We see the hat go around, lands on the snow, and then we run over it with a car.
I do like the running over the hat. Yeah, that's clever.
And with that, with Lacey Chabert specifically cast in this film, there's almost a meta, kind of a meta introduction to her when you think about it. Because Lacey Chabert is like Hallmark's go-to girl right now, which is like the big get of the casting. Like, she's in a lot of Hallmark holiday movies, and she's also been, I think, in a few of the Netflix, like very much like Vanessa Hudgens. They put her in like a few. I think she was like the Princess Switch thing.
Oh yeah, for sure.
That's what I'm saying. They love going after the Hallmark girls, and they kind of do double duty with it. And with that, it feels really funny that it's like, our introduction is like, okay, she doesn't have it all together. She's really, we see the Hallmark house is all decorated and bubbly, and then we pan over to the left. There's one not decorated. It's the crap hole. It's like it's.
I just think Lacey Chabert's her outfit with like the multiple different different robes and stuff is just adorable. It's just a really good way to kind of like get you kind of invested in the character right away.
And she's like skipping the bad step.
Oh,
dumping the water from like the leaky roof, all that kind of stuff. Anyway, so I think already there's kind of like a meta thing of, okay, we know the trappings here, but we're going to try and spice it up a little bit. So we have the mystery of like why the rundown house, which later on has a really good explanation with the dead husband.
Mm-hmm.
So Hope Springs, very nice small Hallmarky town.
I love that name for a freaking Christmas town.
Yeah. So the snow sculptures. Every time I see snow sculptures, I always think of the scene from Groundhog Day.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah,
it makes like the snow sculpture of Andy McDowell.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so Kathy, nice lady, runs the town diner. She herself a staple of the town. So again, we like this lady. She's giving chocolate chip pancakes to the little girl. Nothing wrong there. We got Theo and Mel, the reclaimed rags, essentially kind of a a quaint thrift store in town.
Mm-hmm.
Kindly couple. They give her not the magic bean, but the magic stone.
No, but I do love how we have basically an equivalent of the magic bean in this movie.
Yep.
And I also like that it is pretty much like, I mean, tell me, Dragon, just generally speaking, like, obviously you, sir, are a Frosty the Snowman connoisseur. I literally have not met anyone in my life who's as passionate about Frosty the Snowman as you are. So did this movie live up to that, just as far as like playing around with the Frosty tropes, like the magical clothing item that brings him to life and stuff like that?
I appreciated that we had like the magical item, which in this case was a scarf, and I respect that. Yeah, you can't really, if you're gonna make a snowman to an actual person, like bring him to life in that sense. The hat is it's almost like, to give you a kind of a weird comparison. It's like It's like every time Bane has like the tubing, in Batman, it's always like, why don't you just rip the tubing out? It's like with the
Mhm.
hat, it's like, the hat's an easy target. Plus, he's gonna have to take the hat off sometime. It's very impractical. Scarf, he could conceivably wear it the whole time. It's around his neck. It's not really getting in the way of anything. He could,
Right, yeah.
you know.
Um,
Anyway, what was point being? So, but yeah, as far as like the whole like the melting indoors thing too. I mean, I thought that was here's that biologically, it's like, yeah, he's gonna basically overheat. So I mean, that kind of he's in danger of dying from heat stroke. I mean, I think it kind of works. I think it translates.
mhm.
Yeah. I think it's as logical a translation as you could of the Frosty mythology
I think
in
if
that
this,
regard.
I think if this movie had like a slightly higher budget, we could do some cool makeup effects with his skin. Like, I mean, not body horror stuff, but I'm just saying, like, I want to see this dude like really sweaty. You know what I mean? I kind of feel like we cheaped out on that a little bit. We kind of just have to go with the power of suggestion for it a
We,
little
we
bit.
we should have done more broadcast news with it, just more like Albert Brooks, like sweating through all the shirts and everything. That's what we should have done.
Right, exactly, yeah.
Yep. Anyway, let's see. We get the magic scarf. Basically, the whole deal with the magic scarf is wearing this is how she found her soulmate. So maybe that'll happen with Kathy, who desperately is in need of that since lost her husband. Um, Admittedly, though, I will say the story is lacking a magician, which would have made it even better.
True.
So if we had a magician who said "messy, messy,
Oh my
messy,"
god.
it would have been perfect. Anyway, in all seriousness, um, so we have we have like the snowman village essentially, and we have a very out of place hunky snowman.
Mhm.
So, by
Dragon
the
just
way,
that's what sold me on it, by the way, is I was just randomly like sitting in my living room. My grandparents were watching the news, and like a random news segment about like the Christmas stuff coming to Netflix came on, and I heard Hot Frosty. I looked up, that name caught my attention. I look up and I see the fucking Adonis snowman. I'm like, yes, instantly, yes, like that. This is my type of shit.
did you happen to see Ryan Reynolds' parody of Hot Frosty?
No, I didn't. Oh my god.
Okay, so there's an aviation gin commercial, and it's basically I think the actress who portrayed Christmas Past from Spirited. Basically, so you have like Ryan Reynolds with an internal monologue as like he's a sculpted snowman to look like Ryan Reynolds, and he's holding a bottle of aviation gin. The girl from Spirited like walks up to him, and you think it's going to be the same moment from this movie.
Uh-huh.
Instead, she takes the gin from his hand, but his hand comes off in the process. So internally, like, oh my god! Ah!
Oh god.
Anyway, so let's say anyway, that's okay, so point we have very out of place hunky snowman, which you gotta wonder. We never addressed this in the movie. Who built that snowman? Who's gonna build a hunky
No, you're
snowman?
right. We never do address that. Yeah.
You know what I really want? You know what I really expected to be? I expected to be Jan. The lady who gets her car stuck.
Right. Oh, yeah. No, I could see that. She is very thirsty throughout the whole
Yep, I believe
movie.
that's Lauren Holiday, by the way.
Hmm.
Jim Carrey's first wife.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's see. I guess second wife. Sorry. Point being, where was it going to go? All right. So we have the snowman. She kind of again, she's kind of cast off like, oh yeah, the Matt helped me find my soulmate. Yeah, right. So she's looking at the scarves, and she puts a scarf around the snowman's neck, takes a picture, and a little glint in the eye. If you stage you want to hear like some heart music, and they say, was it Happy Birthday?
Oh god.
So the snowman comes to life. Happy birthday! More unfortunately, happy birthday suit because the logistics of a snowman are he's only wearing a scarf, maybe a hat if he's lucky. So so basically, he's kind of causing havoc by accident, and he accidentally breaks in to a clothing store, and he finds the coveralls that say Jack very conveniently.
So convenient. Yes.
Yep. All right, so next morning, here's the I had an issue with this the first time that I thought about it. Initially, I was thinking, has he just like has just been going on and on like this since night to morning. But I think the idea is he's been going around to every snowman he can find, and he's been spreading the gospel of how great it is to be alive. That's the only way that makes sense.
Again, I do feel like if I had one criticism of this movie, I think Jack is a freaking adorable character. I think the actor playing him is just really giving it his all. I just think conceptually we could have had more fun with the whole concept that he is a snowman. You know what I mean? I kind of feel like the movie does not commit to the bit enough. We do some fun stuff with it, but it just kind of feels like maybe we could have gone a little farther. Do you get that vibe?
I mean, a little bit. Yeah. I mean, they're focusing more on man than snow.
Right. Which, I mean, he is a very hot man, so, you know.
Well, yeah, but also a snowman. Otherwise, he's just like, it's just Magic Mike at Christmas, you know? He's got to have, like,
So speaking of which, I'm going to address some comments here. Little Blue saying Michael Keaton's Jack Frost makes more sense than this, something to do with a snowman. Yeah, I would say Michael Keaton's Jack Frost definitely, like, the rules of that movie are definitely a lot clearer. This movie, it's just kind of flying by the seat of its pants when it comes to establishing the rules. Kogia says, does this film live up to the title? Is Jack actually hot?
Well, Tiki, how do you want to feel that one?
I mean, he's very muscular. He's got a very impressive physical structure to him. You know, that's not necessarily something that I'm into, but, you know, I imagine if you're into that sort of body type, it'd be very, very appealing.
Yeah, I guess feathery hair is back in.
Yeah, I guess so. Honestly, I don't really think facially the dude is like that attractive. Honestly.
That's the thing, though. I mean, I don't know. Maybe that's what's in vogue now, Tiki.
Again, I could see it like through the through the actual body, but face, he's fine. He's got like it's not like he's got an ugly face, but I don't know. I kind of feel like the fact that his face is like imperfect but still very charming, it almost kind of makes the whole character just a little bit more charming. I don't know.
Now if we had Henry Cavill playing Jack,
that would be good casting. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, let's see. Also, did you read the last one?
Let's see. Is it just me, or does Jack Frost look like if DG was a car salesman?
Now, Tiki, I know this is a foreign concept for you, but I want you to wrap your mind around it. Okay, so DG, the DG that Code Geass anime fan is referring to, is not Dick Gregory. No, it is Dick Grayson. So Dick Grayson, who, just in case you didn't know, he was Robin in the DC comics. He was Robin. He was Robin, and Robin went on to be Nightwing. So same character, who in reality is Dick Grayson, aka the initials DG.
Oh my god.
Okay, I don't want you to get lost. Just a recap, Tiki. Who is DG?
Dick Grayson.
Excellent, Tiki. You're learning. That's what's important. Okay. He's got it, guys. He's learned. He can be taught.
All right.
So, speaking of which, let's see. Okay, so next morning, Kathy, Kathy runs into Jack and takes him inside, give him something to eat. Sees him as maybe a kind of a mentally unwell individual. It's like taking some pity on him.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very much honestly it's the same. It's almost the same premise as Night Before Christmas.
Especially I think the first act is where a lot of the Night Before Christmas vibes come from. I think.
I mean, think about it. Okay, we have most likely hunky Canadian of some variety. We have
just like Riley's boyfriends.
Yeah,
little crossover.
So we have we have one of those guys who's very much fish out of water. We take him in, teach him our ways.
There's a whole thing about like, I can't let a strange man stay in my house.
Do a little of that. The friends rally around him, and then we eventually get these two crazy kids together. But there's a time there's a time crunch, and then we find a way around the time crunch. And
you're right. Yeah. I think the only thing that this film is missing is like it doesn't have the memeable magic bean moment. I don't think there's anything in this movie that's quite as quotable.
Yep. Well, the next thing we got to do, the next thing Netflix has to do,
Oh God,
is they have to
Hot
do
Frosty Night Before Christmas
no,
crossover.
no, well, that'd be great, but no. I was thinking, no, we have to complete it. We need a Santa Claus one now.
Oh my God, yes. So basically, like Miracle on 31st Street, except he's hot.
Do you mean 34th Street?
Yes, I'm sorry.
Yes.
But yeah, Miracle on 34th Street, except he's hot. Yes, get on this shit, Netflix.
There you go. I mean, this the third act of this is It's a Wonderful Life, so might as well. You know? There we go.
Oh my God. But honestly, to answer Code Geass's question, yeah, he does have a little bit of a Dick Grayson vibe to him. What do you think? Maybe like a Chris O'Donnell Dick Grayson.
I mean, I guess. I mean, like some modern, like like Aaron Schonke, for example. He's kind of in the modern day Dick Grayson vein. He's got kind of like that look, and I think the Titan show kind of pulled from that sort of thing. He was kind of the wiry kind of sword, maybe.
Right,
right.
Yeah.
He feels like modern Dick Grayson, aka DG.
Uh-huh.
Yep. Okay. Anyway, so we take him in. We try and feed him. We see what happens, and then he basically tells her that she brought him to life, and she initially thinks he's making fun of her, and then eventually they go to the doctor, Dr. Dottie, and Dr. Dottie's played by. Here's the thing, I think in comparison to Night Before Christmas, like Netflix has in its favor, we have a really good cast for this movie.
Surprisingly, yes.
So Katie Nixon Greer, she plays the doctor here, and she's pretty good.
Do we know her from anything?
Well, not
she looks so familiar.
She has a sitcom. I think it's the American Housewife sitcom, the one with Diedrich Bader in it. The one, God, I always blank on the exact name on this. I think it's the American Mom or something. It's it's something. Okay. She plays anyway. But yeah, she has a sitcom, but might be what you know her from. She probably pops up in other things as well.
Uh-huh.
But, yeah. Anywho, she's good though.
Yeah. Well, she has one of the best moments of the movie, in my opinion. We'll get there.
Yeah. Now, admittedly, it is a buy that she a medical professional that she is like.
Oh, I don't give a shit, Dragon. We'll get there. I don't give a shit how much of a buy it is. I totally buy into it. We'll get there.
I mean, look, I'm just saying. It's a buy, however, very refreshing that none of this is he a snowman, is he not a snowman?
Right, we'll build to that. We got to build to that, man. That's like the crux of the movie.
Well, no, I mean even here though, she's on board. She's the first one who's on board. She's the first one who's in on it.
Yeah.
Anyway, so point being, with this in mind, he's very sensitive to heat.
Uh-huh.
Yep. Let's see. So the doctor. Anyway. So
what's funny is that when one of the big threats of the movie, of course, that we'll establish is that oh no, if he gets locked up in jail, he will melt. Dragon, I've never pictured a jail cell as being nice and warm and toasty, right? That's when I think of a jail cell, I more think very cold.
But that's the thing, Tiki. You've never been to Hallmark jail.
Oh my
See,
God.
Tiki, when you go to Hallmark jail, what happens is
the hot chocolate might be made out of the toilet, but it's still hot chocolate. God damn.
No, that's not Hallmark jail, Tiki. Oh, Hallmark jail is you go to the jail cell, you take off your shoes, you put in some fuzzy, cozy slippers, you go in there, they give you a nice blanket. There is a fireplace outside the cell, nearby the cell, but outside the cell. And for mealtime, they give you pastries, and they give you hot chocolate
instead of bread and water. It's croissants and hot chocolate.
Exactly.
Peppermint.
Well, we can't
filled croissants.
Yep, we can't let you out. We can't let you out until after Christmas. Okay, well, I'm concerned I won't be able to spend the holidays with my family, but look at these nice cellmates I have here. Let's sing Christmas carols and kind of reflect on our failings in life.
Oh man, Mr. Freeze could relate to Jack's dilemma. Indeed. Yeah, but let's talk on that, because I like I said, I think that I kind of wish that we played around a little bit more with like, like Jack sweating through his shirts and stuff like that. But one thing I do like in the writing is that, like any good Frosty the Snowman story would have, there is pretty palatable stakes. And I do like the fact that Jack is just a very thoughtful guy and he's very much contemplating, like, I love that there's a lot about this Jack character that I really like. I mean, Sir Cole was fun. He was a fun guy, but I honestly think Jack is a lot more well-rounded. Because like he's hesitant to get into the relationship with Kathy just because of the dead husband thing. And I think the sentiment of like, the more I fall in love with you, the more I know that I can't hurt you like that because I don't know how long I'm going to have. Tell me that's not just a genuinely like really emotional, sweet sentiment for a movie like this.
No,
right?
I'm with you. I think they really nailed the romance here,
Yeah,
and I thought
yeah.
that delivery was really shockingly good. Where he's saying he doesn't want her to go through the loss that she's already incurred, and he knows he's a snowman. So that was genuinely really good.
And I love the idea that he's just very earnestly helping everyone he can just so he can get the most out of the time that he has. That's a very Frosty the Snowman kind of ideal.
Oh, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's so again, so Jack, very pleasant, very Frosty-esque with his naivete and his wonder, because again, he's only been alive for like a few days, and he's he's very much everything's an experience, and he kind of knows, like you said, he wants to kind of get the most out of life.
I kind of feel like if we get a sequel to this movie, like we are desperately wanting a sequel to The Night Before Christmas, I think the direction they have to go in is we have to see the origin of the snowman maker, and he has to have like an army of magical Adonis snowmen.
Oh boy, I don't know about that.
And one of them's got to be played by John Cena.
Sure.
Come on, tell me John Cena as a hot Frosty would not make so much sense.
Well, that would be great, but no, it would be a thing where someone else tries. It would just be a thing where he's have other occurrences of hot Frostyism.
Right, yeah, exactly, yeah.
Yeah, but we can't just say it was like one guy's plan or anything. I don't know, unless it's like a weird enchanted spell thing. I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, like you said, I do think one of the things that does get unexplored is who actually made him to begin with. So,
yep.
Anyways,
fair point. Okay, so let's see. So let's talk about the sheriffs here. So of course, let me say this first. Okay, so one of my favorite elements of Frosty the Snowman was the traffic cop. I love Paul Frees as the traffic cop. Paul Frees is wonderful.
Well, I mean, Paul Frees is just like a freaking national treasure. So,
and he plays like three excellent roles between both Frosty specials, between Frosty the Snowman and Frosty's Winter Wonderland. That's the one with Crystal, the Snowman, the Snow Woman that he marries. We have three great Paul Frees performances. We got Santa, we got the traffic cop. Actually, four. Okay, so you got the traffic cop. You got one of my other favorites. I love the ticket guy because I love his line. No money. I just love the way he's
like the old school equivalent of "We've got to have money."
That was the innocent version of it.
Right.
Like, no money. So here's the thing. That's the greedy, one's the greedy guy. This is more like the concerned, stuff shirt. He's like, no money. Anyway, Santa Claus and of course Jack Frost. Great range between all those characters. Anyways, the traffic cop is just this great thing where he's like this literal authority figure. He's a big old Irish cop, and it's just like, oh, all right, I'll let you, silly old snowman. He's a snowman, it's just this. It's this lovely character who's a little skeptical, but he goes along with it. Now, our sheriffs are kind of a weird bifurcation of that character, and I like one more than the other, and I want to be very clear. It's not. I love both actors. We have Craig Robinson. We have Joe Latrulio. Now, Joe Latrulio. Both of these guys from Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Joe Latrulio was Charles Boyle in Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and Craig Robinson, he played a recurring kind of antagonist, but I have to try and condense it a little here. So in Brooklyn Nine-Nine, Jake Peralta had his white whale of a criminal. was not a mean guy, he was not a killer, but he was called the Pontiac Bandit. He always like outfoxed him, and he always got away with it. And Craig Robinson played this character, and the idea was that it was his arch enemy in quotes, but they were best friends, very much like Perry the Platypus and Doctor
Oh yeah,
Doofenshmirtz
yeah,
from
for
Phineas
sure,
and
for
Ferb. It's
sure.
this idea that, and over time, just the fact that the Pontiac Bandit, he never got caught, but he kept just like charming the heck out of Andy Samberg. It
Oh
was
my god.
delightful. So anyway, so clearly Robinson's got the chops for this kind of role. Unfortunately, I think we put him in a really tough position for what his character was saddled with compared to the deputy sheriff, Ed Schatz.
I like the fact that we got the deputy to kind of even out this guy. And
Yeah,
honestly, Dragon, I was wondering how you're gonna feel. Like I had a feeling that Craig Robinson would be one of your weaker points. I mean,
yeah.
for me, he's definitely one of the less palatable elements of the movie. But at the same time, I honestly feel like he's so ridiculous that it's just kind of funny. Like he just goes so against the grain of the traditional like Hallmark values.
Now, I want to ask you something. So you never got around to Resident Alien, right?
No, I started watching the first couple episodes. It just didn't grab me. Maybe I'll go back to it at some point.
Well, I bring it up because I don't know if you, in the few episodes that you saw, maybe you remember this character. But see, there's a sheriff and a deputy character in that show, and I gotta be honest, just with the small town thing too, and especially the main sheriff character, very reminiscent. The idea you had this we have a well cast black actor as our sheriff, and they basically are just they're complete idiots in power. It's
Mhm.
essentially what we have going on here, and it's like the deputy is clearly smarter than the sheriff,
I just
and
really like this whole idea that like literally everyone around the sheriff is actively like, no, it's fine. Like the glass is replaced, no harm done. He can keep the clothes he stole. I don't care. And and Craig Robinson's just like, no, he's a menace. He needs to
so
be
yeah.
stopped. I don't know.
So that
I got some enjoyment out of that.
I mean, yeah, but here's the thing: as a gag, sure, but it's just like when it starts to get in the way of story, and it just feels very much all of this just builds to we need Jack to be put into a jail cell, and that's basically the way we need to have him put into a hot space in which he might melt against
Mhm.
his will. And the only way to do it is for him to be arrested. And how's he gonna be arrested? Well, cops gonna be after him. It just feels very, very contrived. It feels like I'm not saying Craig Robinson's not doing like a fun job, but I think there's a lot of fun to be had with how he's playing the character. By that logic, though, it's like this character can't really do anything beyond the plot and what the plot wants him to do.
Right, right.
So basically he's a roadblock of a character. That's literally all he exists to be, and because of that, we kind of limit. Here we have like a lot of funny gags. But for example, he has a little spinner rack of sunglasses that he can do his Caruso with. That's really funny.
Oh God.
But again, so Joe
Were you
Latrulio,
wearing those in the bathroom? How long have you been in the bathroom?
he was waiting to make it dramatic.
And that's the thing. That's the thing is I like that the characters pretty consistently just actively call him out on his bullshit.
Yeah,
I
that's
think
great.
that's what makes his character genuinely kind of fun.
Yeah. So honestly,
Even the deputy is like, dude, what are you doing?
well, that's what I'm saying. All that's fine and dandy until we get to like the third act, where it's like, okay, well, it all comes to a head. And he's just being very ridiculous, and it's becoming less cute.
Yeah, I don't know.
I guess
Movies
we'll
need
get.
conflict.
I know they need conflict, but
I mean, what kind of a climax would it be if it's like, you know what, y'all are right. I'm gonna let him go. No,
it'd be an hour.
we need to have the
No,
big town coming together thing.
well, maybe not every movie.
Every
I mean, they
Christmas
already.
movie needs a big town coming together moment. Dragon, what are
But
you, a fucking monster?
Tiki, they were already together. The
God.
town he was the only one not together. Like literally, you basically saying you want them stand around a circle.
Yeah, I want him to be a bunch of jackasses standing around in a circle. Yes.
That's it. You just want them gathered in the town square. That's all you wanted, Tiki. They're already gathered in the diner on his side, and they love him, and they're already against the. You just want a different locale.
Oh my God.
Anyway, so again, Sheriff Schatz. This guy, he is, I love the scene in which again he's instructing, you really grill this guy, and he ends up being charmed by him, and they're bonding. He kind of his lovely earnestness of like, come on, man, look at you, you're an Adonis with a mustache and everything. I
I
can't
love that.
back
I
that.
love that he's got an adoration for the mustache.
That's the thing.
Which
I
it is like
love
the
that.
most stereotypical like cop mustache in the world, but he does rock it.
I'm not gonna lie to you. That exchange, that dynamic between the two might be my favorite part of the whole movie. I'm not gonna. It's hard.
Well,
It's
you know what
hard
I
to see.
like about it? You know what I like about it is specifically that like you can tell on some level like the deputy has like it's an innocent crush, but he's got like a little bit of a crush on Kathy, But like as soon as Jack is like, "Hey, I'm thinking of asking Kathy to dance, and I need your help," it's like, there's no jealousy there, there's no rivalry. It doesn't try to force. It's just like no, like he instantly goes into like, dude, how could you have never had a date? Like I love the pleasantry of that. I love how there's no actual like forced conflict there.
You know what my headcanon is.
Hmm.
Okay, if we ever explored the sequel of this world,
Oh God.
I would like to think
We were
Ed Shaft.
threatening, we were brainstorming ideas for seasonal shenanigans this year, folks. Dragon and I were kind of threatening to do just a pitch for
Nights.
the nights before Christmas, which would have been a total vanity podcast that literally you and me and nobody else on the internet would give a shit about.
Yep. Anyway, okay, so what if the deputy ended up with Dr. Dowdy?
Oh, I could see that.
That'd be nice.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay, so anyways, again, really, really charming, just kind of bonding between those two. Him like helping him out, like giving him tips for his date.
Mm-hmm.
It's really nice. Let's see. So, okay, so we have. So let's talk about the montages in this movie.
Yeah.
So we have like I think 2 to 3 montages, but two primarily stick out to me. We have the TV montage, which is basically used. I love the conceit that Jack can absorb information like a sponge, and he can basically become he's a literal jack of all trades.
It doesn't make much sense in the context of like Snowman. Like, is that a Frosty thing that he's a very fast learner?
Well, no, because he still can't count. So no, he's
Right,
not.
yeah.
What I'm getting at, I
So
think the
I think
idea is
that's kind of like a conceit that's just sort of like, you know what? We need to make him a jack of all trades. We need to have him like, out helping the community. And obviously with him basically having the mentality of a newborn, we need to actually give a reason how he can do these things. So fuck it. He absorbs anything he watches on TV. Why not?
Do you want me to overanalyze it for a second?
Oh, by all means.
Okay, here's what I'm going to throw at you here. Okay, because he's a pure individual who has just come to life, and much like a newborn, just much like anyone, being like a sponge, he is developing, he is imprinting on everything. He's learning everything without any distractions, which is why he can absorb it at the rate.
I like that. I like that. Okay.
I think there's a logic to that, and then alternatively, it's like if you want to look at the metaphysical aspect here, it's like, hey, we project onto the snowman, because we're building them, we're putting our imagination into them, and I don't know, maybe in some way, shape, or form, maybe it goes both ways.
Mm-hmm. Like
All
a
right.
bisexual. Yes, thank you, Ted. That was the joke.
Okay.
I couldn't resist. I'm sorry. I saw the opening and I took it.
Yeah. So we have so with our montage, we have the TV montage, which I gotta admit, to me, the way it's shot, a little reminiscent of a scene from George of the Jungle, the Brendan Fraser one.
A little bit, yeah, I can see that. I know what you're talking about.
Big nostalgic movie for me, that George of the Jungle. So I remember him eating the coffee and everything and all that. So I always love seeing he was going nuts in the.
You know what's funny is that I doubt this is intentional, but I love that we get a Nosferatu cameo.
Yeah.
And of course, Dragon, as you know, Nosferatu, man, we're just like a week out at this point, and it's been my number one most anticipated movie of the past 2 years. And I see that, and it's just a little reminder, like, it's coming. By
the way, did you get that article I sent you?
I don't think so.
Shame.
When did you send it?
I mean,
Oh, I see. Okay.
the
No, I
Nosferatu
didn't, just
one.
because there was just a lot of other stuff going on.
Yeah. Anyway, well, it sounds like
Oh
the
my god,
filmmaker.
really? Okay, yeah, I'm seeing it now. That's no, I mean he's not wrong. So basically, what Dragon's talking about is that Robert Eggers is crediting SpongeBob for being the entry point for Nosferatu for a lot of adults, and yeah, he's not wrong.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. So in the other ones, we have the. How do you feel about the Pretty Woman montage?
It's the weakest montage. I don't necessarily think we really need it.
I mean, here's the thing. I want to say this is like a compliment, but every time I think about it, it feels like, well, that's kind of the point of doing this montage. Period. Every time we parody, it's like it's a tightrope of very
It's a song that has been like pretty overused as far as
yeah.
montages go, which is one of the reasons I didn't really care for it.
Because basically, you have two options with the wardrobe montage: either '80s fashion montage or Pretty Woman. Those are your two
Uh-huh.
options. So, if like, it feels like we walk the tightrope of like super cliche, but by the same token, okay, we're literally replicating the shots in Pretty Woman, like the whole like case closing and everything. But you kind of have to do that for it to read as Pretty Woman. So I don't know if that's a compliment or not.
Right.
I did like the snowman cufflinks.
Yeah.
Also, I love the snowflake necklace gesture, a
The
little light
snowflake
up
necklace
dots.
is fucking adorable, and Netflix should sell those as merch.
Now, something we should talk about is that, again, well intended as he is, and it's an honest mistake for him to make, but Jack is he's bankrupting the poor girl.
That Netflix. I mean, I can't imagine that necklace was cheap, you know?
Well,
And
he said this is very expensive. If you don't like him, I
oh
should
man,
say.
and it's like, well,
And the
Jack, that's a nice
window.
gesture, but that went right out of my bank account, buddy.
Think about all the stuff that she has bought for the snowman. She bought the window, the necklace for herself, all the clothes, and like she cleaned out for the well. Thankfully, it was returned, but again, like we saw, she can barely scrape together $2,000. Like that's.
Oh my god, you're right. That's true. When you consider that she can barely scrape together 2 grand, yeah,
Well,
that's a
that's her business.
good.
That's the
I mean,
thing.
Dragon eating out just hasn't been the same since the pandemic. You know, it's a hard business out there for restaurants.
What's a Hallmark town?
I feel like Hallmark Town is like an offshoot of the Key and Peele sketch, the name of which I will not repeat, but you know what I'm talking about.
Right.
It's like Hallmark Town is like one block over from that
Anyway,
right.
so let's talk about Jack the Handy Snowman. So again, good heart, nickel head. Again, he's putting poor Kathy in debt, but he's buying glass windows. He's fixing up the town.
Mhm.
And then we have Lauren Holly's characters. Lauren Holly's character, and then the older ladies of the town. They are quite literally melting for him.
I honestly think the movie maybe doesn't maybe lays it on a little too thick.
Yeah,
For the
so let's talk about that scene. Okay, so I
car
think
scene in
I
particular is a
well, that's what I was
little
about.
uncomfortable.
So I think it was a bridge too far having him hump the car.
I agree. I wasn't. Yeah.
Like, okay, look, Lauren Holly, looking at him like eye candy. Sure, all right. I mean, look, the initial scene in which he is discovered and the fact that shrieking is a component of this movie. I do appreciate the restraint in showing anything. I will give him that. Very
Sure.
judiciously placed, thank goodness, very judiciously placed scarf in those scenes. Thank goodness. But it does, we're definitely leaning into it, and he's brought over to fix the light. Which, by the way, it's a very impractical light. It's like a light that hangs down, like anyone could walk right into it. Anyway, so point being, Jack, he's making a name for himself, and he's essentially hired to do maintenance for the school dance, and that's how he gets to the idea of like, hey, I'm gonna ask Kathy to the school dance. Maybe she'll say yes.
Oh my god.
And
I
thank
do. I
goodness she
do
does.
really like how the movie, like, yeah, a couple weeks is a little too quick to be like genuinely falling in love. But you know what? I do like the fact that the movie does play around with the whole like she's she's recovering from the dead husband, and there is kind of like that emotional vulnerability that she's not sure she's ready to share yet. You know what I mean? I like the fact that the movie at least addresses that.
Yeah. So here, I'd like to talk about like a kind of a pathetic moment we had in the movie. I thought I was really impressed by. So in his discovery of like the husband's death and that he was sick and everything, is
Yeah, that to me is probably the single best emotional beat in the whole movie, I think.
it's just essentially Frosty the Snowman, or at least Hunky Frosty the Snowman, like a snowman posing the question, "What's cancer?"
It sounds silly, but you're right. It is a little profound. Yeah.
It's just like, wow, man, that's a bold moment to have there. And
Uh-huh.
this of course leads to him respecting your feelings on the fragility of life, or the fragility of life. You want to add like a little winter pun there, but
the
yeah.
the fragility of life.
Well, you could take it that way too. Yeah, the fragility of life must be Italian. Anywho, let's see. I mean, you don't see that in a Hallmark Christmas right there. It's like, hey, what's cancer?
Exactly. A Lifetime Christmas movie, maybe, but yeah,
Oh
not
yeah, but all the Lifetime movies are sad. There's never a happy Lifetime movie.
all.
It's always like, oh, look at the sad lady in the bunny costume. What's going to happen to her now?
God, in the bunny costume? What?
Well, I'm going off like that. I'm going off like Bridget Jones, admittedly, on that one. So I know it's not
Okay,
technically
that is yeah,
Lifetime.
that's not a Lifetime
I
movie.
know, I know, but you know what I mean. It's like Lifetime. You have two
And
options.
I
It's
did
either
not know
like
that a bunny costume was involved in Bridget Jones. Granted, I do not know much about those
I
movies.
am pretty sure I could be the clip in Ted, or in the first Ted
Oh,
movie
okay.
when Ted says, Bridget Jones something a hole. We see like the bunny. I think her like walking home dejected in the bunny suit, which to me does feel indicative of Lifetime, because Lifetime you have two options: either like a spousal abuse story of some kind, or something horrible happening to a woman, or like a woman just having kind of like a not so good love life that may or may not pick up.
Either way, it's the wrong man.
Either way, it's sad, ladies.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep. Anyway, so let's see. Anyway, okay. So the sheriff puts a damper on our happy ending. Everything's going great. We're all in the diner. Credits, hour and a half.
We should probably
No,
talk a
we get
little bit about the actual dance going on.
all right. We'll hit him with it.
I mean, I don't know. I really do enjoy him, bonding with the one kid and like coaching him on. Like I like that Jack is getting coached on how to ask out a girl while he's also teaching his young ward how to ask out someone at the same time. I like that there's kind of like it doesn't really amount to much, but I do like that there's almost like a generational kind of dueling storyline going on there with the school dance.
Yeah,
I
it's like
think
he
it's
taught him. He walked him how to ask her out, and on the flip side, Jack taught him how to dance.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, very nice. And again, like Lacey Chabert. We kind of buried the lead on this one. Of course, you and I know Lacey Chabert for one role in particular.
Of course. Her role in Mean Girls. No,
Well, the other.
obviously Wild Thornberries, yes.
There you go.
I
Yeah.
honestly feel like Mean Girls is where more people know her from
Well,
though.
that's the thing. That's what I was thinking. Oh man, is he actually like? Did he forget? Like,
No, I didn't forget.
but yes. Liza Thornberry, all grown up.
Indeed.
Okay, so sheriff puts a damper on our happy ending here. Realizes he can use the ATM camera, so he's got the culprit. Arrest him. I like this. The snowman takes responsibility. It's like, you know what? No, I did the crime. I deserve to be punished. Of course, he doesn't really know it's going to be instant death, mind you. But it's like, yeah, I should be.
Right.
Like lock me in the ice box. Like, wait, no ice box. No, I was all wrong about this. No. So honestly, all this feels like we've kind of tacked on runtime to do a little bit of It's a Wonderful Life. That's what it really feels like.
A little bit. It still works for me. I don't
Look,
know.
it's nice, but it just feels like the sheriff is being very, very unreasonable here. It's literally the whole town accepts the snowman truth. So that's the thing to everyone. They're like, wait, so you're all fine? You all accept that he's a snowman? Like,
Okay, well,
yeah,
let's talk about the big moment with the doctor character, though. When she just basically, like, Lacey Chabert has spent the whole movie kind of trying to dance around the issue. Like, even in her own head, she's kind of unsure if he's actually a snowman or not. And then the doctor just outright says, like, he's a fucking snow. Now, obviously, she doesn't curse, but, like, like, he's a snowman. He's a living snowman. That's what he is. And I really like, that's one of my favorite moments in the movie, just because I feel like it just kind of like cuts past the bullshit in a lot of these movies where, like, where people are just like, well, that's impossible. It's like, no, it's possible because it's Christmas magic. God damn it.
Mhm.
I don't know. There's just something like very, very refreshing about just not questioning it at all.
No, sure. Look, I'm saying it's a refreshing change just to get everyone on board versus the whole we have to convince everyone in like a flowery speech. Like, no, we get it.
Right, exactly.
Anyway, so they all rally. Basically, the sheriff's department, the only ones who aren't really clued into this. The sheriff just very petty. Just he's deluded thinking, he's
You
a
know what? The
spy.
sheriff is basically like a commentary. I feel like he's kind of a commentary on the whole cliche of, like, when I think of law enforcement, like, obviously the worst of law enforcement is the whole, like, the George Floyd situations. Obviously, like what I'm gonna say is, like, obviously not it is a different level from that. That is true, just evil. But what I'm gonna say is, at least I have a perception where it's like, have you ever, like parking tickets and stuff at the end of the month? They're like, really, you're gonna get me for that? And essentially, it's like the only explanation is like, I got to make my quotas for the month. Like this guy is kind of like the ultimate quota chaser. Does that make sense?
Well, sure, but remember, he wants like respect. That's the main. He even says it to them, like, you all laugh at me and everything, and he's being very petty intention. So he can honor the badge, kind of a thing, where he could let him off, but he's not.
Uh-huh.
I mean, yeah, it's pretty much what you're saying. To you, I was saying, yeah, it's kind of yeah. So yeah, so he was calling him a spy. He's like saying he's setting bail at $2,000, which again is not in the budget. It's
Which,
not.
by the way, $2,000, not really that much money for like an international like threat. Honestly, if you were to
Well,
take the whole
he knows he has really nothing to hold him on though.
right, yeah.
That's the thing. Like the whole thing. Like, well, maybe you're really bad at taking fingerprints, like burned off. Like, come on. I mean, also, he's sweating profusely. Man, that's another thing too.
That is true. Yeah, that is a little sus.
But also, here's the thing. Okay, the man's clearly overheating. Okay, it's not just like a withdrawal thing. He's clearly
I
overheating.
do like that the deputy adds, like, well, he could have a gland problem. Like,
Yeah,
there are reasons. I mean, I sweat profusely, Dragon, even when I'm not nervous. And when I am nervous, oh my God, it's like I look totally guilty.
you look like Albert Brooks in broadcast news.
Exactly.
But yeah, it's just the fact that everyone's saying, he has a medical condition, he could die. And literally, honestly, if they brought the doctor down there, says like, hey, if you don't release this man or at least give him some ice, we're gonna prosecute.
Mhm.
Anyway, so the whole town, I love they're always making an uproar over this idiot here, and look, here's all I guess up, still a little shy, and then they're all putting in money.
I like how petty. You know what? I feel like at that point when he says like, you're still like $10 short. I feel like at this point, like the dude, like he knows he's cooked, but he's like kind of like just trying to hang on to like the
This
last
is what I'm
shred of
saying, though.
respect.
It just feels kind of pathetic at that point.
It is pathetic. It is pathetic. Yeah.
It just feels like it's just dragged on. Then his own
Like,
son,
really, guy? Really?
the man doesn't have an actual change of heart until his own flesh and blood like ponies up for his
Which is
stupid
like
demands.
just a total last minute twist. Like, oh, the kid that Jack has befriended is also the kid of the villain. What a twist, I guess.
Yep. It's like you're going to take $10 from your own son to bail out a man that
I know,
everyone very
right?
clearly knows
On
is a good part
Christmas.
on Christmas Eve. So again, we just need an excuse for Jack to die, essentially, then come back with a magical kiss. That's the only reason we did this. So anyway, so again, sheriff here, he accidentally killed a man. He died again by not offering him just. Here's if there are real world consequences. Be like, okay, so you denied him water. I offered him water. Well, why didn't you give it to him? He wanted ice. Wait, you let him die because you didn't want to give him ice? Like, what's wrong with you? I mean, did he look ill? I mean, yeah, was he overheating? Well, you turned like the air on or something, right? Did you call the doctor? Did you call a medical professional? Did you have any legit reason to think he's on drugs? Like currently, it's like, well,
Right.
you know, he sweated a lot. Anyway, so thank goodness Magic Kiss saves the snowman's life. He's a real boy now.
Yes, we do basically turn it into Pinocchio at the end. I didn't even think about that, but yeah.
Yep. He's a real man. He's a real.
Happy, I'm a real boy.
Yep.
I also do like that this movie manages to sneak in like a fucking Olaf subplot.
Oh yeah, the whole thing. He wants to go
to Hawaii.
Yep. Wants to see Hawaii. They fix up the house together, and they're off on a trip.
Yeah.
They leave the Hallmark, and there's your sequel: Snowman in the Tropics.
I mean, at this point, he's just a regular guy, so it would just be kind of just hot guy.
That's what I mean. There's no shelf life. There's a shelf life. we can't keep going back to the well.
Yeah, but that's why we need like the army of Adonis snowmen, so we can still keep the Hot Frosty title. And they're evil now, and Jack has to stop them. All right. Anyways.
I don't think Hallmark necessarily does evil. That'd be interesting if they did evil. I don't think they do.
Yeah, I mean, I think like the sheriff character in this movie is about as mean-spirited as this type of movie gets.
Now, mind you, I mean, Netflix could attempt, like, in not being Hallmark, they could work in the cracks one day and actually have like an evil character as a Hallmark protagonist.
Ooh, that'd be interesting.
Imagine like Scrooge.
But I'm just saying, like imagine like the abominable snowmen in Red 1, except they're all played by like John Cena types.
No,
I don't know.
No, I hear you. They go on the same life affirming journey as
exactly.
Oh yeah, I've been through that too. Yeah, totally get it. Okay, here's real quick before we go. Here's a pitch for Netflix. Okay, kind of our Hallmarky version of our edgy Hallmarky version of Christmas Carol, but with Larry David as Scrooge.
Oh my god.
Okay, and here's the thing. Okay, here's the twist. Scrooge doesn't change. He's justified. As an each ghost, he's getting into legit arguments, make you think where it feels like it's Scrooge. Just he could have placated people in life, and he probably would have. He probably wouldn't be so alone. But by the same token, though, he wasn't wrong with how he was feeling. He has to make a living. He's a money lender. What's he gonna do? Like, let people get defunct on their on their rent and everything. Like, come on, so I kicked out with the widows and orphans. But I have to collect somehow. What am I supposed to do? Is let them live there for free, like forever? I mean, how am I going to run a business?
Oh my god.
Yep.
All right. Okay, so yeah, that's pretty much all she wrote. You got any final thoughts here?
Snow business, like Netflix snow business. No. Look, this was delightfully, kind of fun and silly, and it was did have some genuine heart in it though, which I did appreciate.
I honestly think, as fun as The Night Before Christmas is, I do think this movie does genuinely have a little bit more pathos than that movie did, where that movie was pretty much just pure silliness all the way through. So, but again, I feel like that movie has a couple more like big highlight moments than this movie does. So I think they're pretty even, honestly.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, but overall a really fun time, and like I said, it's one of those kind of like love at first sight sort of things where as soon as I looked up from my phone on the couch and I heard the words Hot Frosty and I saw the Adonis Snowman Dragon, I knew this would be something special for us to cover.
Oh yeah. So, Tiki, would you like to give folks a vague tease of what's beneath the wrapping paper?
Yeah, it's gonna have to be a little bit vague, because we haven't fully decided on it yet. So essentially, folks, what we're doing is we're going to be doing a classic Christmas short from the Walt Disney era. We've got 4 selections for you. We got a poll on the community page. So far, Pluto's Christmas tree is ahead, but I'm going to keep the poll up for probably about another day. So, by all means, feel free to vote in that still. Our 4 options are the Silly Symphony, The Night Before Christmas, Pluto's Christmas Tree, Mickey's Good Deed, which, just to tease Mickey's Good Deed, that's a very early Mickey Mouse short, and one of the big cruxes of it is it's one of the first times that Mickey and Pluto get separated. And I think I think it'd be a fun kind of contrast to the Once Upon a Christmas, or Twice Upon a Christmas short that we just went over. And then there's Mickey's Orphans, which is basically like Mickey Mouse takes in a bunch of orphans on Christmas. Go ahead and vote on that. Like I said, so far, Pluto's Christmas Tree is in the lead, but you never know. I'm going to leave it up for one more day, and, we got to have Jacob make the thumbnail, so we can't leave it up much longer than that. But if you have not voted in the poll yet, go ahead and vote.
Do your civic holiday duty, man.
Indeed. All righty.
All right, folks. Time to dash away all. But as we wave goodbye, don't you cry. We'll be back again next time
for even more seasonal shenanigans.
Fa la 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 la.
No, I do. I love you, Kathy. I love you.